Well, this is one of the biggest disasters in the whole world. This is the biggest typhoon that ever hit the face of the earth.
It's like the wind looking for you. I'm afraid to die at that very moment. Especially I have with my hands my 3 kids.
Keep in mind, the Red Cross teams are going into places where everybody is running in the other direction.
Adrenaline keeps you going. Belief in the mission, belief in what you're doing keeps you going, belief in the people.
I believe we have really great impact on people. And it's genuine and it's authentic. It's raw. It's service like you've never experienced.
Most of the devastation I saw was in Tacloban. It reminded me of countries that I had been to in times of war. It was completely wiped out.
When I first saw Ormoc City, you could see the physical destruction, but it was the people. They were walking around numb.
You have to work in an environment that's completely unpredictable. What you think you might be doing, you may not be doing. Often you're working on an international team where you have people who are speaking different languages, understanding different perspectives of the same problem, and it's really important just to realize that your perspective is only one of a much larger one.
When you come in a country with the expectation that you're going to assist and support people, you cannot do that on your own in a vacuum. You do bring some skills and equipment and resources to the area of the disaster, but at the same time, you're lacking all the knowledge of the context, you're lacking the knowledge of how people function, and you're lacking the cultural knowledge as well.
I was apprehensive at first because of the immense presence of the NGOs, but they often tell me, Dr. Maria, you will be the one to decide on what you want for the hospital, but we're here to help you, and they were there to guide me.
Coming from mental health, relationships is what everything is about. You can't do anything if you don't have a relationship with people. A part of that is gaining people's trust. So I connected with Philippine Red Cross, which I think is really important because they are the heart of that community.
You have to respect the fact as well that the volunteers themselves have been going through that disaster, have been suffering through that disaster. They've lost family and friends and neighbors. At first, there was really a big adjustment because I don't really know Canadians except basketball players. It feels good because they did not let me feel that I'm a victim. I'm a rescuer. I've never been a victim. I'm always there to help. They didn't let me feel that you should be thankful that we are here, something like that. It's like they are here to assist us.
The experience I had with the Canadian Red Cross, it gave me the opportunity to learn other cultures. Like how should I see work as important as it is? How should I value time? How should I work in a fast manner if it needs to be done?
And you're in this timeline and you know that we need to open the hospital doors because we're going to have beneficiaries coming in and they need our help. And I remember another nurse and we sat in the tent that was the labor and delivery room. And we both just hugged and cried each other for about 5 minutes. And we both said, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. And we just hugged each other. We gave each other support. You just go giddy up. We're here for service. Let's get going.
When I talk to the volunteers and we talk each other, have you seen these people? Have you seen how they work? And we were really amazed with that. I saw men and women carrying heavy loads just to put up the tent the soonest possible time. Every sweat that drops from their skin, we saw the genuineness of their service. They are very much confident. They know what to do. It inspired me to help more.
Normally when we set up tents, it'll take 4 to 6 hours to set up a tent. And I was going tent to tent to tent, and I was kind of monitoring them and pointing out stuff that they had to do. And I turned around at one point, and 2 of the tents were up within an hour. And I was amazed at how quickly they were able to learn how to do everything and work together as a team to do it.
So my day-to-day was really working with 2 key Philippines Red Cross volunteers, and it was doing everything from HR, fleet management, arranging transportation and vehicles, figuring out finance and payroll for our local nurses and volunteers.
Officially, I was a ward nurse in the obstetrical ward, but I found that I started going all over the place, wherever the need was.
I was logistics, maintaining the equipment, making sure it's serviceable, making sure that we can order new stuff, get it there in a timely manner.
When I arrived in the Philippines, it was second rotation, and I was team leader during that time. The thing that struck me, I think, about the teams was that although the situation was a difficult one, the team was extremely committed to the job that everyone was doing.
My philosophy going in is that I have to keep things running so that I can properly support what the medical team is trying to do. We need to have our machines running properly, whether it's air conditioners, oxygen concentrators. They need that, and it's imperative to the mission.
When you're in a field hospital in a different country that has different practices and you're still in the middle of the disaster, you have to find innovative ways to address issues that you have dealt with very differently back home.
If there's a patient with pneumonia, how are we going to treat this patient with pneumonia? What's the appropriate antibiotic choice? What is the national protocol in Philippines? And how might that be different from the care that we might provide in Canada? And to try to determine the most appropriate kinds of treatment modalities that we needed to do. It's all about working together and negotiating and trying to understand the context. I've certainly been in situations where the local doctors have more knowledge, of course they do, of the context in which they're working, and they can actually shed a lot of light to us as ERU delegates in terms of best management.
A typical day, we would see anywhere from 200 to 300 kids. It was amazing because we're going into villages that are totally wiped out. We would need to find an area to set up because we do art, play therapy, we did education around violence prevention, bringing some joy into sort of total devastation.
I was able to accompany one relief distribution where families were able to have their kids be able to come over and be with our volunteers and do some song and dance, as well as drawings that were focused on trying to restore a little bit of dignity and pride and happiness in children after having gone through so many difficult months.
There was one nurse I remembered, Sandra Piper. She was working with me.
She was so lovely. She never gave up hope. She was always positive. She would work really long hours because they were unable to find local staff, because the staff were trying to find their family.
She wanted to learn also what we have learned here from trainings that we have had, because I was the one trained for the exclusive breastfeeding for the mothers.
We had that trusting relationship where she could say, well, this is what I need today. And I could do it for her. And then we would sit and have tea, at the end of the day.
A lot of people said to us, oh, you're going to be away for Christmas. And we said, no, we're staying. And I think a lot of people were very taken back by that and said, wow, the Red Cross is staying.
I said to the Canadians, I feel so guilty about you. You're so far from your families, and it's Christmas time. So I said, I'm going to organize a Christmas party for you. So we celebrated the Christmas Eve at my office.
I think the Christmas dinner was very powerful. It was just about our relationship and about the respect and reciprocity that we shared.
I was so happy to see that we were able to build the Canadian hospital there. And we were very appreciative of the fact that for the first time we were working with international doctors, international Red Cross volunteers running a field hospital.
The field hospital was able to not just treat sick and injured patients, but also give decent deliveries to mothers who gave birth to over 400 children in Ormoc City.
I came at a point in the ERU deployment where we were trying to hand over the ERU and build the capacity of the Philippines Red Cross to be able to use this field hospital themselves in future disasters. That idea of sustainability and building capacity for the local community themselves to be slightly more prepared and able to respond in the future is what it was all about.
For the PRC, it is very, very significant for us to have our own unit. Having such capacity to deploy a field hospital is something that would give us more advantage over the disasters that we face, because we will be able to render more life-saving activities.
Beyond trying to deliver on a specific mandate in this mission, it was really about the whole experience. My aha moments often have to do as much as what we're able to achieve and how many babies the ERU delivered, how we were able to hand it over and build the capacity of the Philippines Red Cross, but also in the day-to-day how we support each other as a team.
This work I've been doing for about 18 years now, on and off. And it's one of the most rewarding things that you'll probably ever do. It's also the most trying things that you'll ever do. I have many times been in a situation thinking, what am I doing here? What was I thinking? Just because often if it's outside your own box or your comfort zone, sometimes you wonder what you're doing. But always in hindsight, always I come back, always I reflect and say, absolutely, this is a really important thing to do. It's giving back to our global community. It's working as a global citizen and trying to contribute our piece of the puzzle towards that.
It makes me feel like I'm a part of a bigger picture, that every little bit counts, and that people are resilient, and people do bounce back. And we're here to support that.
From when we first set foot in Ormoc City to the time that we left, the change in the people was so apparent. They were starting to smile. There was a beat to when they walked.
Bang on Ormoc was their slogan, which I believe means rise up. They hashtagged it, they had it on t-shirts, they sang songs about it. They really came together.
We are part of a team that delivers against a most noble mission that we all believe in. And it's not a cliche for us, and it's not a slogan on the wall. It's something we do every day. I have seen disasters bring absolutely the best in people. Neighbor helping neighbor, village to village.
Maay pagkatinan nila na po. Salamat. Maayong ilang pag-atiman namo dito bisag kami mga pobre. Nagpasalamat mi og dako. Daghan kayong salamat sa Canadian.
Nagpapasalamat ako sa Canadian kasi nakatulong sila sa akin. Nasa ilaha.
The hospital now is back on its own 2 feet because of the presence of the Canadian Red Cross during the crucial days following Yolanda. And from the bottom of my heart, I'd say thank you. Thank you for helping ODH.